of the new City Hall. That was dedicated last year at about this same time, last month in July, last weekend in July, that's when that was. And the front of it, where the open beams are, is to replicate the old Myton Bridge, which was the first bridge across the Duchesne River. And that would have been put in the late 1800s when the bridge was put in. But it's a nice building. Yeah, it's a credit to any community, I think. I just don't think there's much better. And you see the cobble rock piers, that is replicating the old piers that the bridge set on going across the river. They was all cobble rocked up like that, and that's the bridge set on the piers. So it's a pretty good replica. I mean, if you know a little story that what it is, what it applies to. For years it was vacant. Back in the 20s, that was all stores along that side there, different stores. The latest one was called the Josh House. It was a pool hall and beer hall, and had a gas pump out in front of it, as I remember it when I was a kid. But that whole side of the street was burned out twice on that side over there. The buildings were built and businesses put in, and then the fires would come along and wipe them out. You know, that's the thing, because you see, everything is made frame, putting everything with wood and lumber, and a match, and kerosene lights. Man, they were just catastrophe waiting to happen, you know. The kerosene lamp off the wall, the house was gone. Where the City Hall used to be, where the video store is now, you know, okay, that was built for a firehouse to start with. Right after World War II, and we'd all come home, and the mayor of the town had got word from Hill Field they were going to sell some old surplus fire trucks. They wanted to know if Myton City would like to buy one. So the mayor went out and looked at this one, the Ford truck with a pump and everything on it, and come back and had a fireman's meeting in town, and the firemen, well, all we had was the fire hydrants and some hose we could hook the fire hydrant. Well, anyway, we had a meeting, and the mayor came and he said, they want $600 for this fire truck. And the city hasn't got $600. But I said, she said, if we get out and beg, borrow, and steal, we can raise that much. So the firemen, we all got together and went out around town and told people what we had. We could buy a fire truck, and it would be for their protection, you know, everybody else's. To have a fire truck, that's everybody's benefit. And we raised enough money, had enough money pledged, that if the bid was met, why they would donate, they would give us the money. And it worked. We got the bid and got the old fire truck. So then we didn't have a place to put the fire truck. So a guy by the name of Mr. Broom, he lives across over here, right across the street, in the early days, and he was a bricklayer. He was quite a carpenter, you know, jack of all trades like most people were in the early days. So the city had that lot down there. So we decided that's where we'd put the firehouse. So Mr. Broom, and every weekend, we'd go down and meet, and we'd pour the floor first and got that down, and then the next weekend we started laying the block up. And he was teaching us how to lay the block and keep them straight and everything like that. So we finally got the firehouse made to put the fire truck in. And then we no more than got the fire truck, and then the civil defense come in and wanted us to form a civil defense program in town. That was still Cold War was on, and they were watching, you know, for any activities that could be detrimental to us. So we formed the civil defense, and we manned it 24 hours a day. We had them build a little building on top of the firehouse, put us up above everything, and it was open, and we had a telephone up there, and we'd man that. If we were up there and a plane flew over and we couldn't see it, we could tell them, guess at what altitude they were flying and in what direction. That's what it was for, civil defense, to keep track of aircraft that was flying in the country over our area. And then, of course, it went to a central map, and it was, you know, And we've done that for probably a year, and then things got better and we didn't have to, wasn't on guard like that, so we kind of abandoned that. But the little old house, I wish it had stayed there. It wasn't hurt anything up there, but that would have been, that was a piece of history in itself again there. They tore that down. And then in the old jailhouse down there, all those names that are written in the wall and that are people that were in jail in there at one time or the other on Main Street there. It used to sit on a block, half a block back, but when they were going to tear it down to make room for those new homes, I had a little bit of a fit tizzy and said, no, don't tear it down. Pour a slab up on Main Street and we'll move it up there. It'll be part of the museum, because that was built in 1910.
Yeah.
That was a historic building, I got to save those things. So got it up there. People get a kick out of going in, trying to read the names on that's been carved in. See, they were 2x6 planks stacked flat.
Oh,
that was the walls. That's the whole structure. They weren't studs up this way. They were 2x6s stacked to make the walls, and so they're pretty solid building. Yeah, you're not going to whittle through that or kick a hole in it or anything like that, But there's one of those jail cells in there on one of the planks that says, "I am a jailbird, but I cannot fly."